You're here for a deep dive, and today we're really focusing on something pretty vital for, well, anyone working with data these days, getting a real grip on it.
hmm
We're going to explore a tool called Datascale, and we're basically drawing all this from what's on their website.
Exactly. And think of this as, us doing the legwork. We're pulling out the key bits so you can understand how Datascale might help you get clearer visibility and more control over your data.
Right.
Specifically, we'll look at how it handles things like code bases and data lineage. The whole mission here is really to make these ideas understandable, show the value without getting totally bogged down in tech speak.
Okay, sounds good. So let's jump right in then. Their first big feature, chat with your code base. It sounds simple, maybe, but the potential impact seems, well, pretty significant for how we actually work with data.
Yeah.
Essentially, it lets you ask questions, like in plain English, about your code, other data sources, and get answers right away.
And what's really interesting there, I think, is how it centralizes things. They talk about searching across, different data stores, even documentation, all from one spot. Just think about how much time we waste switching contexts, right? Between docs, code, maybe a data catalog.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
This feature seems aimed right at that cognitive load. Could free up a lot of time maybe for more strategic stuff or just faster debugging.
Absolutely. Or imagine, like, a new person joining the team trying to figure out a complex system.
Right.
Instead of digging through tons of files or wikis, they could just ask Datascale. Give you a direct answer. But it's more than that, isn't it? They mentioned guided follow-ups.
Yeah, that bit caught my eye too.
What's that about? Sounds like a way to dig deeper.
It does. It's almost like having a conversation with your data. The system suggests related questions based on what you first asked.
Ah, okay.
Which could, surface things you wouldn't have even thought to ask about.
Yeah.
Blind spots and how we understand the data.
So it's kind of proactive exploration.
Exactly. It helps you connect dots you didn't know were there.
Like having a built-in curiosity engine for your data. That's pretty cool. And they say the answers come with full context and traceability.
Critical point.
Yeah, that seems super important for trusting the info, right? You're not just getting some random answer. You can see where it came from.
Precisely. And their site mentions this is AI-powered, probably large language models, LLMs, I guess.
Makes sense.
Trained on lots of text and code so they can kind of understand the nuances and give you decent human-like explanations. Knowing the lineage, the context, that makes an answer much more usable, reliable.
So the big picture for you, the listener, is Datascale seems to be framing this as a way to democratize your data, making it less scary, maybe, more approachable for, like, everyone in a company, not just the data experts.
Yeah, that seems to be the angle.
Their call to action sums it up. Discover your data, understand it better, use it smarter. Captures it well, don't you think?
Agreed. And the fact they say try it yourself suggests some confidence there.
Okay, good point.
So now let's pivot a bit to another key area they talk about, next-gen data lineage and discovery with LLMs.
Right.
This is where we get into how Datascale helps make sense of the relationships within your data, especially data models.
Data lineage.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone who's tried to follow data from point A to point Z knows it can feel like untangling like a massive knot of threads.
It can be messy.
Datascale says it turns your SQL into a lineage graph.
That sounds way more intuitive visually.
Yeah, the visual aspect is compelling here, moving from just lines of code to a picture.
Right.
They specifically mention visualizing upstream and downstream dependencies. So you can quickly see where data originates and, crucially, what tables downstream get hit if you change something.
Ah, okay. So if you've ever worried about tweaking a table and breaking who knows what else.
Exactly. This feature aims to give you that visibility, that peace of mind.
No more crossing your fingers and hitting update, hoping for the best.
Pretty much. Seeing those dependencies mapped out must be huge for, like, risk assessment and just planning changes.
Definitely. And then they bring in generative AI to help with the data models themselves.
Okay, how does that connect? How does AI enhance the lineage part?
Well, connecting it up, it seems like it's about using AI not just to understand what you have, but to actively help improve and evolve those data structures.
Interesting.
The website suggests AI can help you, like, reason through complex logic, maybe generate ideas for your models, and even assist as they change over time.
So it's more than just looking at what's there. It's about getting help making it better.
Yeah, it moves beyond just passive understanding into potentially active improvement. AI-powered assistance, essentially.
Okay. That sounds like it goes beyond typical cataloging. Speaking of which, they also mentioned a catalog feature. What role does that play?
Think of the catalog as the central library for everything known about your data.
Got it.
Datascale positions it as searchable, visual, and this is key, always up to date.
Which is tough in reality.
Totally. Data changes constantly, so having a reliable current catalog is indispensable for anyone needing to understand the landscape.
And complementing that, there's a board feature for visually documenting models.
Exactly. Another visual aid. The board lets you add notes, context, right onto diagrams, those database structure diagrams.
Yeah. Entity relationship diagrams.
Right. This is where you capture that sort of tribal knowledge, the stuff that's often just in people's heads, and make it formal, shareable. Makes it much easier for new people, or anyone really, to get up to speed on a data model.
They even have a quote from Kale Christopher at Cintier Analytics
Oh, yeah.
saying they use Datascale to help clients grasp lineage and, quote, summarize large amounts of code into succinct, snackable snippets.
Snackable snippets. I like that.
Shows a real practical benefit, doesn't it?
It does. And the site also stresses seamless integration, connecting to various platforms without needing direct database credentials.
Oh, that's interesting. Why is that important?
Well, it speaks to ease of use, for one, but also security, right? You control what metadata gets shared rather than handing over full access.
Good point. Security is always a concern. And they also talk about speed. From SQL to data discovery in minutes.
Yeah, that's a bold claim. Bulk import, AI search. Sounds like they're aiming for quick setup.
Which is always nice.
Definitely. And that always synced feature via API for schema changes is also pretty crucial.
How so?
It means your lineage, your catalog info, it stays accurate automatically when your database structure changes. No need for manual updates, which are a huge pain point for data teams.
Right, that makes sense. Avoids drift. Okay, let's maybe hit some questions listeners might have based on their FAQ section.
Sure.
First off, does this work with the SQL I already have? My existing models and queries?
According to the FAQ, yep, big yes. It's designed to work with your current SQL stuff.
Okay.
It can apparently reverse engineer models from create tables, inserts, views, all that. So you don't need to start over.
That's a relief for many, I bet. What about trying it out? They mentioned a free trial.
Yeah, 7-day free trial listed. Full access to all features, they say. And they also encourage booking a demo, for a personalized walkthrough.
Standard practice, but good to know. Here's an important one. Does it show the order of execution for lineage?
Ah, good question.
Because just seeing connections isn't always enough, right?
Yeah.
The sequence matters.
Totally. And yes, the FAQ confirms it can figure out the execution order by looking at the dependencies between transformations.
Okay.
So it maps the data flow sequence, helping you understand the ripple effects of changes.
Got it. And for the more technical folks listening, how do you actually integrate with their API if you have your own systems?
Their explanation is pretty straightforward. You basically feed your metadata to their API endpoints.
Okay.
They also mentioned their support team offers hands-on help with that integration process, troubleshooting, and all that.
Speaking of support, what's the general support like?
They seem to emphasize that hands-on help specifically for the API setup and for fixing any problems. Suggest they want a smooth onboarding, help people get value quickly.
Right. Makes sense. Okay, so we've covered the chat, the next-gen lineage and discovery. They also have a section that really highlights visualizing SQL to lineage. Seems like they're doubling down on this visual aspect.
They really are. They keep coming back to that benefit of seeing SQL logic as a clear flowchart, basically, giving you that unambiguous upstream, downstream picture. The underlying message seems to be all about building trust in your data pipelines. It's hard to trust what you can't easily trace, right?
Absolutely. Transparency is key, especially with important business data. And automatic lineage tracking. That sounds like a massive time saver compared to doing it manually.
Oh, huge. Manual lineage documentation is not only slow, but it gets outdated so fast and it's prone to errors.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Automation keeps your understanding current and accurate, and again, they stress understanding those downstream dependencies before you update.
Which we talked about avoiding those oops moments.
Exactly. Prevents blind guesses, lets you explore the lineage, they say, with unlimited depth. That level of detail can be incredibly valuable for preventing or just diagnosing data problems.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Based on our look through their website, Datascale seems to offer a way to talk to your code and data sources, find info fast, uncover insights. It provides advanced data lineage discovery using visualization, AI to help understand and evolve models, and a central catalog for knowledge.
Right. And fundamentally, all these features seem geared towards helping you, the listener, get a really solid grasp of your data landscape efficiently without feeling, totally overwhelmed by the complexity.
Making data more accessible, more understandable.
And ultimately, way more useful for actually making smart decisions.
Okay, so here's a final thought to maybe leave you with.
Yeah.
Considering how much of, well, modern work, modern understanding relies on data,
Pretty much everything.
imagine the possibilities, the new ideas or solutions that could emerge if you had a fundamentally clearer, almost conversational grasp of where your data comes from, how it flows through your systems.
Yeah.
Just consider how a tool aiming for that might reshape your own daily interaction with data. Could it unlock insights you haven't even thought of yet? Something to ponder.